Hello everyone, my name is PolishLynx, and today it's time to start another game, another visual novel, Without Within by Invert Mouse. Vinty! The chants of my fans echoed through the door in front of me. One of my two bodyguards wrapped his hand around the doorknob. Please prepare yourself, Miss Vinty. Once I open this door, we'll head straight for our limo. The guard had no reason to fret. I had long since grown used to these crowds. Still I nodded to put him at ease. After taking a deep breath, he pushed the door open. A crowd of hundreds raised their cameras as soon as they stepped out. My guards waved their arms to shoo them. This red carpet was for me to walk on. After all, I blew a kiss for these starstruck peasants. Miss Vinty, please let us hurry, my bodyguard said. Too bad for him, I strutted along like a model on a catwalk. A group of reporters managed to worm through the crowd. They now tiptoed over my guards in hopes of scoring that exclusive. Vinty, how does it feel to have won another Calligrapher of the Year award? A reporter asked me. Before I could answer, another dozen people shouted over each other, hoping for my attention. Vinty, may I get a photo with you? Can you sign me some autographs for my kids? And two for me, of course. I can't believe I'm standing this close to Vinty. My fans stomped their dirty shoes all over the red carpet. Finally, my bodyguards pulled out their pepper sprays to keep these fans in check. A young male reached in my direction, despite having a spray aimed at his face. Rather admirable for a peasant. I extended a hand for this male fan to kiss. Unfortunately for him, he fainted at the sight of my perfectly polished nails. I reached my limousine At last, my bodyguard opened the door for me, and as I climbed in, my trailing fans snapped as many photos as they could. Miss Vinty! Miss Vinty! The crowd chanted as my car window pulled up. How odd, they never referred to me as Miss. Oh, my graceful presence must have been too much for this sanity. These poor things. Miss Vinty! Miss Vinty! That was just a dream? Oh. Well, I have fun while it lasted. At least I got to ride in a limousine for a good 30 seconds. In real life, my only registered vehicle was, well, my 10-year-old bicycle. My apartment had no space for a car anyway. Actually, the single room with cracked walls might be an insult to the award apartment. Pull up those curtains for a spectacular $1 view, featuring a savage pipe and a wall tainted with yellow. Just open the window if you wish to smell the savage as well. A breathtaking experience. By the way, sorry, I needed to take back the one-room thing. This place actually has two rooms. Thank you very much. The second room happened to be a toilet. That's still counted, right? The toilet clogged 3 times a month, so be careful when using it. Miss Vinty! Miss Vinty! A woman's voice echoed from outside. She was no fun, but rather my landlady. I glanced over at my clock. 6 AM. Waiting another hour or two would have been nice. Oh man, 6 AM is the worst hour. It's middle of the night, come on. She probably just wanted to tell me about another rent rise. Nothing could ever come out of that woman's mouth. I would be better off staying in bed. Choices. Yes. Stay in bed. Rise and shine. Coming. As I changed to something more appropriate, the landlady kept knocking. I said I was coming, did I not? Maybe I should walk out naked if that was what she did. If this were a game, we might get a sailboat too. Good morning. Good morning, Miss Vinty, the landlady said. I meant to ask, what's with that hair? It looks like you just woke up. Actually, they look great. That's because I did. It's a waste for young ladies like you to slip away your youth. The landlady shook her head. She had no right to preach me like this. I wanted to tell her but decided against it, as doing so would give her an excuse to lecture me further. With her size, if I enraged her, she would squash me into Vinty-flavored pancake. Miss Vinty, your rent was due 3 days ago. Oh well, at least there was no rent increase. Sorry, ma'am. My next paycheck will come after tonight's shift, so I'll pay you first thing tomorrow morning. The landlady grunted. Alright, just know that if this keeps up, you have to find somewhere else to live. She spun around to leave. Once she disappeared behind the corridor, I kicked my door shut, causing a piece of my cracked wall to fall off. I tried shoving the piece back into my place. My effort resulted in more wall fragments flaking off. Great. The landlady would make me pay for that next month. Once I became an accomplished calligrapher, she would beg for a chance to shine my shoe. Hey, I sounded a bit ranty before, but was never my intention. A lot of famous people had humble beginnings. I would follow in their footsteps, but first I needed to put in the work. Without weaving. And so I returned to the busiest street in my area. With my calligraphy spread before me, I sat on the concrete and rested my back against the fence. Car horns blared behind me, mixed with people shouting things about each other's mothers. These cars kept expelling fumes that made me choke. Just one of many things I dealt with in the name of art. Pedestrians took up almost every inch of space on the street ahead. Surely, this would be the day when somebody spotted my talent. As always, no one afforded me anything more than passing glance, and my will soon dwindled. Let me be honest, I never expected to be showered with praise by every head who passed here. What was that old saying? 10% of the people you reach out to will buy your work. I could live with that. Even just 1%. Please, anything but 0. I wanted to scream at these people. They had no idea how much sweat I poured into those calligraphies. Standard operation before choice. Preserve or round. Let's preserve. I decided to keep this displeasure to myself. People often said patience would be rewarded. I wonder if my patience would ever become worthwhile. Just as I thought this, a man passed to look at my calligraphies. He had a bucket of fried chicken in his hand. The smell made my mouth water. As the man eyed my works one by one, I felt my cheeks heating up from anticipation. At last, someone who spared more than a moment with my works. This must be my reward. The timing could hardly be more perfect. I summoned the courage to speak with the man, but he spoke first. You're charging for this? I managed a tiny nod. The man snorted. I would never hang this on my wall even if you gave them to me for free. Seriously, this is the most shameless display I've ever seen. How dare you! Trolls online were one thing. Confronting one in real life was a rarity. Judging from the man's scrawny arms, I bet I could overpower him with ease. Then he would know just how big of a blunder he made me. Let's restrain. Folks always said to ignore trolls. I clenched my teeth and stayed put. After chuckling in my face, the man strutted off, determined to prove him wrong. I continued to sit and wait for potential customers. Another 1,000 people walked by without sparing me a look. Lingering here any longer would be a waste of time. As I packed my things, I insisted I was leaving because my part-time job started in an hour. Deep inside, I knew the man's words had rocked my confidence. Giving up on calligraphy would mean I had wasted all this time over nothing. Yet, if I lacked the gift, preserving might make Things worse. Tears welled in my eyes and I clenched my fists to hold them back. Speaking of tears, I heard a kid crying within the crowd. Looked like we had a lost child on our hands. Some pedestrians shot him glances, but none of them offered more than that. These really were horrible people. To cheer myself up, I told myself I would never want my calligraphy to be owned by people like that. I should help the kid, but that would mean being late for my job. Let's help him out, whatever. If I judge others before abandoning a child, then did the same myself, I would be a jerk and a hypocrite. With a sigh, I walk up to the boy. There, it's okay. Did you lose mommy? The boy was sobbing too hard to answer, and he needed to stroke his back with one hand and his head with the other. Let me know if you lost mommy, okay? I'll help you find her, so there's no need to be scared. The kid managed a note at least, and I whispered good boy into his ear. What's your mommy's name? Hungry. Her name is Hungry? The boy stared me, glowed and realized what he meant. Oh well, how about I buy you a sandwich? The kid shook his head. I want ice cream. Hey kid, ice cream is more of a dessert actually. I want ice cream. And so ice cream it was. One for him and none for me. The money came out of my pocket, of course. My poor wallet. At least this kid could have eaten the whole thing rather than let half of it melt on his shirt. Jessie, the boy says. That's mommy's name. Jessie. I got as I strode along the street. Now people stared at me more than ever. Enough to make me blush. In fact, maybe I should try shouting Jessie at random the next time I saw my calligraphies. The sky turned orange as time ticked by. Yeah, I knew my shift started half an hour ago. Stop reminding me. A woman squeezed through the crowd and scurried toward us. She ran past a red light, nearly getting hit by a truck in the process. Mommy! The boy shook free of my hold and rushed into his mother's embrace. After muttering apologies to her son, the woman gazed toward me. Oh, thank you so much for your help. You're a wonderful, just wonderful. The torrent of praise curled my lips into a stupid grin. Anyone would have done this, the same thing. Please, if there's anything I do in return, just let me know, the mother said. Actually, there is something I needed help with. The mother nodded. Anything in my power, miss. Which way back to the train station? Okay. The sky had gone dark by the time I arrived at work. I opened the restaurant door gingerly to avoid making a noise. Stealth mode switch on. They called me Ninja Vinty for a reason. It's Vinty! The voice of my boss nearly made me jump on the ceiling fan. Sorry, I'm late. I wanted to explain, but my boss glared at me, and my tongue slurred out a bunch of syllables. My explanation was in there somewhere. Probably. Maybe. I received an earful from my boss, but at least I got to keep my job. Several colleagues shot me frowns for not being here during such a busy period. In the end, I took all the blame without complaint. Well, at one point, I locked myself inside the toilet and screamed to the bowl. Also might or might not have fantasized about dunking my workmate's head into the toilet. That was for me alone to know, though. At least I earned the paycheck needed to keep my landlady quiet for another month. As for the month after that, we would see when the time came. All I wanted was to pursue my art. But reality kept pressuring me toward finding a second job. On my way home, I spotted a banner for an uncommon visual novel named Princess Aria. The game had been long held on every forum I knew. Amazing art, along with a cast of famous voice actors. The writer and composer were big names too. For Princess Aria to have an art this big, there must be a lot of money put behind the project. The way this banner hung high gave me the sense it was extra important. Bright light shone on the princess' face to impress potential players. Yes, that was what I really needed. If I had a banner like that, know that people would line up by my calligraphy. I could already imagine how folks would react as I walk along the streets. Hey, I think that was Vinty. Wow, no way, you mean that famous calligrapher is seeing all those banners? Yeah, she must be really good. Maybe we should ask for her autograph. My agent would then step in to speak on my behalf. Please line up in an orderly fashion everyone. How much for an autograph? Shut up and take my money! My agent nodded in response. Autographs are available for $100. Thanks. Okay. Autograph for $100. Let's end this episode with that thing. And oh, there's Hagen Bermuda in the background. Pretty cool. Okay, let's end the episode here. Hopefully you enjoyed and see you in the next.